So today's topic is energy for exercise. It's the second chapter in your sports nutrition textbook on page number 1616. So those who are joining late, please help them out with the topic name and all. So starting with what is energy. So although we can't actually see energy, but at least we can feel it. We can see its effects. Okay. So energy is like it is produced by splitting of this chemical bond in a substance called adenosine triphosphate. You can see here adenosine stands for the A and three phosphates, that's triphosphate. Okay. So this is how you get energy. You when you split this bond between the phosphates in the ATP, that's how you get energy. So ATP, this ATP is a very small molecule. It is called the backbone, and it has three molecules of phosphate groups. So when is energy released? When one of these phosphate group splits off from the ATP, making it ADP. DP means D stands for diphosphate. So when ATP converts itself into ADP, that's when you receive energy. When there is a split between the bond between any two phosphates. Okay, so that's how you get energy. That's the basic simple meaning of what is energy, what is ATP. Okay, so energy usually comes from these three macronutrients. Okay, we have seen this in our nutrition and dietetics classes, previous classes. So carbohydrates, proteins, fats, as well as alcohols do provide you energy. Okay, whenever you eat a meal or have a drink, all your food substitutes or food components have these macronutrients in different ratios. Okay, you take your cereals and pulses. Cereals and pulses are not just the source of carbohydrates. They do have certain amount of protein as well as fats as well as other micronutrients. Okay, micronutrients won't give you energy, but the macronutrients, that's the carbohydrate, protein, fat, and alcohol, they provide you with ample of energy to survive. So this is where your energy comes from, basically from carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and alcohol. So what is energy which is measured in calories? Like when we say what is a calorie, okay? So 1 calorie is defined as the amount of energy which is required to rise 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. Okay. So you let's say you have a water at 14 degrees Celsius. You want to raise 1 degree Celsius of this 1 kg of water. Okay, you have 1 kg of water at 14 degrees Celsius. You want to raise it to 15 degrees Celsius. So how the amount of energy, okay, required to raise this 1 degree Celsius, okay, that energy is called as 1 calorie. Okay, so if you require a video on the explanation of this, okay, the definition is very well explained in an animated video. I have that link. If at all any one of you require the link to that video, just contact me on this number. I hope all of you have my number. So please contact me on my number. I'll forward you the video to this animation of energy. Okay, energy in terms of 1 calorie. What is the definition of what is energy? What is 1 calorie? The definition of it. If anyone requires me, just drop me a WhatsApp message about this video. I'll forward you the link to it. Okay. So the energy components of different food, time and again we have discussed this. Okay, carbohydrates and proteins, 1 gram each. 1 gram of carbohydrate and 1 gram of protein will give you the same amount of kilocalories, that is 4 kilocalories, okay, in your body. But when you do this conversion in an external laboratory, okay, if you take 1 gram of carbohydrate and you try to derive energy in an external laboratory but not within a human body, so in that scenario, in that simulation, you will get 4.1 kilocalories from 1 gram of carbohydrate. The reason being, when you ingest food, not the entire 1 gram of carbohydrate is being absorbed by the body. Some part of it obviously will be lost in the fecal matter. Okay, some part of the food, not everything what you eat is getting absorbed. Some part of it does get released out of the body through the fecal matter. So we have to consider that also. So keeping that in mind, keeping the loss of the food, what you, the macronutrient, loss of macronutrient through fecal matter, keeping that in mind, we do come to the conclusion that in your body, this is the conversion of calorie conversion of macronutrient. But in a laboratory, in a simulation, okay, in a simulation setup, if you try to convert energy from the macronutrients, these are the difference is just in decimal points, but still there is a difference. Okay, making it making up to the stand that we do lose some of the macronutrients when we ingest food. Okay, so carbohydrates will give you 4 kilocalories per gram for your body. Fats will give you 9 kilocalories. Proteins will give you 4 kilocalories. Okay, so these are the caloric values of food stuff. Questions will come from this, obviously not just for sports, but even for nutrition dietetics. I guess most of you all are well versed with this. One thing that is not mentioned here is alcohol. Just check in page on page number 18. Check on page number 18. See what is the kilojoules of calories given by alcohol. Just check and put it in the comment box. Those who don't have the textbook, they can check the comment box, check the chat box. Alcohol, 1 gram of alcohol will give you 7 kilocalories. When we convert it into joules, it is 29 kilojoules. Okay, 7 kilocalories or 29 kilojoules. So when I ask such questions, please make sure you mention the metrics. Okay, you mentioned the metrics. Don't just put 7 or 20 or 9, like some of you have just put the name 7, but 7 what is it, kilojoules or kilocalories? Okay, that's important. The metrics are important here. Okay, so keep that in mind. So carbohydrates, how does the body store carbohydrates? Okay, when you have carbohydrate rich food, it goes into your stomach. Okay, only some part of the carbohydrates can be absorbed, like the simple sugars can be absorbed by the stomach, but the remaining part, the complex carbohydrates, has to undergo certain dissemination at the intestine. Okay, in the intestine. So in the intestine, once it gets absorbed into the body, okay, in form of sugars and starch, it will go settle down in your, it will convert itself into glucose. Glucose is required for energy purposes, to fulfill the energy purposes. The remaining abundance of glucose is converted into glycogen. Okay, and glycogen is stored in your brain, in your liver, in your muscles as well. Okay, so that's how the carbohydrate is stored in your body. And whenever you like you are, if even if you're not used to high intensity workout, but one day you have to run, or you had a very hectic day and all, okay, glycogen is the first store of energy from your body which will get depleted. It's not the fat stores, okay, but it's the glycogen stores in your body. That's the one which will get depleted first. Okay, so this is how glucose is stored in your body. Carbohydrate is converted into glucose. Glucose is stored in the form of glycogen in your body, mainly liver. And when it comes to liver, the glycogen stores can last only up to 5 to 6 months, not more than that. Okay, glycogen stores in the liver can last only up to 5 to 6 months, not more than that. And if you have too much of glycogen, okay, too much of glycogen, what will happen? How is it stored? Can anyone just remember? Anyone can just put a point across? If you have too much of glycogen in your body, how is it stored? Is all the glucose stored in the form of glycogen, or is it converted to something else? Yes, too much of glucose or too much of glycogen will be converted in the form of fat, and it will be stored in your adipose cells, in your adipose tissues. Okay, so not all the glucose is converted as as glycogen and stored. If it is too much, if you have too much of carbohydrate rich diet, you have too much of carbs in your diet, most of it will also get converted into fat. That's how you get obese. Okay, and it will be stored in your adipose cells as well as adipose tissues. Okay, And yeah, over a period of time, if you still don't restrict your carbohydrate rich diet, you will, the converted glycogen, the stored glycogen in the liver, that will convert itself into fat, and that's how you get fatty liver. Okay, that's how you get fatty liver. So fats, how is fat stored in the body? Which are the different types of adipose tissue? Can anyone just put it in the chat box from yesterday's class? Different types of adipose tissue. Yes, we have brown, pink, and white adipose tissues. Okay, brown adipose tissue is usually found. Most of the brown adipose tissue will be found in infants, and when they grow up, it reduces. Okay, but obese people, people who are overweight and obese, do tend to have a lot of brown adipose tissue as compared to lean people who have lean body structure. Okay, so brown adipose tissue will help to maintain the body temperature. White adipose tissue will give the protection, okay, for your vital organs. Pink adipose tissue is usually found in females during, especially during their reproductive phases of pregnancy and lactation. Pink adipose tissue is specifically present for supporting the reproductive health of the woman. Okay, for example, the women who have this pear-shaped body or hourglass body. Okay, some women have apple shape, rectangle shape, pear shape and all. So which body shape do you think will have a lot of pink adipose tissue? Any guess on this? Which body shape in women, in a woman, okay, in a woman, which body shape do you think will have a lot of pink adipose tissue? It's pear shaped body. Okay, women who have larger hips and thighs, okay, in those kind of body type, okay, they have a lot of pink adipose tissue, because usually the fat that is accumulated around the hips and thighs for of a woman is usually utilized during her pregnancy as well as lactation. Okay, most of the energy to the pregnant woman, as well as converting the energy into food for the lactating mothers. Okay, these both these categories come from pink adipose tissue. So women who generally have a pear shaped body, or on a overweight hourglass shaped body, they tend to have a lot of pink adipose tissue, which could be easily lost during pregnancy and lactation. Okay, if you are someone, if a woman is suffering from like weight loss issues, she want to lose weight, and she's scared of pregnancy or lactation, she thinks that once she gets pregnant or when she starts lactating, she may gain more weight. But this is a health education which you can give, that if she completely breastfeeds her baby, okay, during the first 6 months, there are high chances that she will lose the additional fat deposits on her hips and thighs, and she can achieve a healthy weight loss. Okay, without any psychological impact, or without putting her health or the child's health at risk. Okay, so fats which are stored in the body are in the form of subcutaneous fat as well as visceral fat. Subcutaneous fat is the one which helps you to keep your body heated up. Okay, subcutaneous fat is like an insulator to your body. It will not allow the internal body heat to evaporate out. Okay, it will trap the heat within the body. The fat layer under the subcutaneous layer, you have your epidermis, then dermis, then subcutaneous, then subcutaneous layer of the skin, then muscle and bone. Okay, that's how the dissection of the skin looks like. So under the in the subcutaneous layer, there's lots of adipose tissue, lots of fat deposits that acts like a protector as well as a heat regulator and insulator for your body. Okay, it traps the heat within the body, not allowing it to escape out. This is what keeps you warm. Okay, so that's subcutaneous fat. Then you have visceral fat. Visceral means anything related to viscera, means your internal organs. So visceral fat is there to support your internal organs, to cushion your internal organs, to provide that safety and protection to your internal organs from any blunt trauma, or just in general protection as well. Okay, so that's how fats are stored in your body. And if you take a closer look at the subcutaneous as well as the visceral fat, you will find adipose tissue. And if you cut down the adipose tissues further and you do a microscopical study on this, you will see adipocytes. Adipocytes are the fat cells. Okay. This is a different shape of the body. Fat, usually in men, it's not compulsory that man will have only apple shape and women will have pear shaped. Some men do have pear shaped body, some women do have apple shaped body. Okay, it's not like black and white. Okay, there's a range for body shapes. So but mostly generally speaking, most of the apple shaped body means that you have lot of fat accumulated around your abdomen, and in pear shape most of the fat is accumulated around the thighs and buttocks. Okay. Mm. So when we talk about the apple shaped body and pear shaped body, which do you think has a higher risk of cardiovascular diseases? Yes, it's the apple shaped body. The detail of this, why is it so? The detail of it, we will see in the that it is chapter of diet in cardiovascular diseases. Okay, when we go to that chapter, we'll discuss in detail about why is it so. Okay, so just for this class, just understand these are the different types of body shapes, and people with apple shaped body shape and or in generally those who have pot bellies. Okay, they are at the higher risk of getting into any cardiovascular issues. So, protein stored in the body. How is protein stored? When protein gets digested, see, protein is something like that. It once you have protein, it is broken down, absorbed, and again it is converted back into some or the other form of protein. So, protein gets converted into protein, and that's how it is stored in your body. Remember that. And some part of the protein, in case of starvation or energy depletion, some part of the protein will be broken down just for the sake of giving energy. Okay, that's secondary. That's secondary. Proteins that provide you energy is the secondary function. First of all, proteins have a lot of biological function they have to perform in your body. So proteins will be broken down into peptides and amino acids. These peptides and amino acids, once they get absorbed, they will again form other forms of peptides and amino acids, and they will form other protein structures in your body. Okay, so protein after digestion, peptides and amino acids gets absorbed from the intestine. These amino acids will reach other forms of the body, other parts of the body, either to participate as a catalyst in any enzymatic reaction, to form hormones, to form antibodies, to form body protein in general, like your muscle is made up of protein. Okay, your collagen fibers, elastin fibers, made up of protein. Your internal organs, your bones. Okay, then other forms of amino acid are solely just to give out energy. Okay, they can participate in the gluconeogenesis and glycolysis chain reactions, etc. And some form of it can be stored in the form of fats in the body, too much of protein. Okay, so this is how protein gets stored in the body and how protein is utilized in the body. So next, coming to the important fuels for exercise. Okay, remember this thing: during rest, moderate intense activity, and high intensity activity, which form of energy do you require? So a person who is living a very sedentary lifestyle, okay, based on the graph given here, just look at the rest column. Okay, a person who is living a very sedentary lifestyle, what should be their carbohydrate intake? What should be the general carbohydrate intake, looking at the depletion of energy? It should be a carbohydrate deficient diet. Okay, it should be a carbohydrate deficient diet for people who live a very sedentary lifestyle. Remember this, there is a difference between calorie deficient and carbohydrate deficient. You can have high calorie diet, but which is a carbohydrate deficient diet. Can you give an example of such diet? Like in today's day and culture, this kind of diet is of a fad now. Which is that one kind of celebrity diet? Most of the celebrities do endorse it. Which is that diet which is high calorie but carbohydrate deficient? At least there are two examples of it. Yeah, keto is one example. Another one, can anyone just guess? We have previous batch students, we have covered it during the different types of diets chapter on different types of diet. One is keto, next form. No, Mediterranean diet is carbohydrate rich. Mediterranean diet is carbohydrate rich. It's not carbohydrate deficient. It does have include a lot of protein. Okay, like fish protein, it has olive oil, it has a lot of antioxidants as well as omega-3 fatty acids naturally. That's a difference. But Mediterranean diet is naturally carbohydrate rich diet. Okay, it's paleo diet. Have you heard of it? Paleo? Yes, paleo and keto. Okay, paleo and keto diet are the ones which, like a person who is living a sedentary lifestyle can follow it. Okay, to prevent themselves from getting into obesity. But there is a major drawback of paleo as well as keto. We'll discuss that later in the in that specific chapter. But still, just giving the information out, we do not have enough research on the long-term effects of such diet. Okay, the long-term effects of keto diet and the long-term effects of paleo diet. Okay, there are chances of various unknown deficiencies and their related diseases which can follow. Okay, so the long term, like the people who are following this keto diet and paleo diet are like the guinea pigs of this era. Okay, what will happen to their body, what will happen to their health, time can only tell. We do not have long term studies and researches which has been done on such diet. Even for the children who suffer from inborn errors of metabolism, for whom keto diet is prescribed by the pediatrician, these kids are not kept on keto diet for more than 2 years. Within 2 years, you slowly start to introduce more carbohydrates into their diet. So there may be a reason behind that. So that's a major drawback. We do not know the long-term effects of these diets. Okay, but generally speaking, for a person who is in a sedentary lifestyle, to keep themselves away from getting obese or going into the overweight category, control your carbohydrate intake. Do not worry about the calories. Once you control your carbohydrate intake, controlling is different from restricting. Okay, controlling is different from restricting. Just be conscious of the carbohydrate intake of your per day. Automatically you will have a control on the per calories intake. Okay, then people who have moderate intensity workout, they should increase their carbohydrate intake, but they should keep their fat intake justified. Okay, to, like, just because they are taking a lot of moderate intensity workout, that doesn't mean it's a green signal for them to indulge in a lot of fatty food. Okay, they have to restrain from the fatty food, but they can increase their carbohydrate intake. Okay, and people who live on a high intensity workout, like sports personalities, etc., they have to be on carbohydrate rich diet. Protein for energy. Protein does provides energy. Okay, and it can in some situations where you are starving. Okay, you are starving and you are doing some crash diet or something like that, you are fasting for a long period of time, you are depriving your body with food. Okay, what the body does, it will break down its own protein, the body protein which you have in your muscles. Okay, that's the first juncture of protein which will be broken down. Your muscle protein will be broken down, you will lose your body's lean mass. Okay, so in absence of fat and carbohydrates, protein are the third. Protein is the third option to give out energy. Okay, excess protein is converted into energy. It can be stored as fat. So just because you follow a high protein diet does not restrict you from getting obese, because too much of protein will be converted into fat and it will be stored in the body, just like how it happens with glycogen, glucose. The second thing is your kidney will suffer. Okay, the kidney will suffer. Too much of protein in your body will lead to proteinuria. Protein in urine along with proteinuria, you will get hematuria. Okay, blood in urine. So if you see these two things, means the health of your kidneys are compromised. So immediately you have to step back from your high protein intake. So high protein diet is not necessarily good. Like if you do not understand the concept of high protein diet, okay, if you deviate from high protein diet to excess protein diet, these are the side effects which will come along. Okay, excess protein diet will also lead to obesity. Okay, it will not give you too much of muscle tone, it will lead to obesity because excess protein will also be stored as fat. It will compromise the health of your kidneys as well. So excess protein, once it is converted into energy, it cannot be converted back into protein, so it can do you more harm than good. Then how like we have three main different types of how energy is produced in the body. Okay, so first is your ATP-PC system, that is adenosine triphosphate and phosphagen system. ATP-PC, the full form of it. So the abbreviations and all, please just mark in your textbook. Okay, it's on page number 21. Abbreviations and all, please mark in your textbook. Questions can come around these things. So ATP PC system is your muscle metabolism. Okay, like when the muscles will break down to give you energy. Okay, usually when you do excess workouts and all, you get muscle cramps. Okay, this is the sign that some of your muscle glycogen has been broken down, muscle tissues has been broken down just to give you energy. Okay, so it means that a lot of lactic acid has been accumulated in those specific areas where you have muscle cramps. So creatine phosphate, it's a kind of protein phosphate. Okay, creatine is a protein, phosphate is the phosphate molecule attached to this particular protein. Okay, so creatine phosphate is used here to give out energy. Excess ATP is used to synthesize creatine phosphate. Okay, creatine phosphate is what? It's an energy rich molecule. Creatine phosphate is an energy rich molecule. So this transfers its high energy phosphate group to the ADP. Remember, ATP breaks down. ATP will give out a phosphate, will break down the phosphate bond and give out energy, and it becomes ADP. Adenosine triphosphate will become adenosine diphosphate. Now your body has adenosine diphosphate. How to convert it back into triphosphate? That's when creatine phosphate will come. Creatine phosphate is again a high energy molecule. Creatine phosphate has this extra phosphate molecule. It's ready to give up that extra phosphate molecule to ADP to convert it into triphosphate. Okay, so the creatine phosphate combined with ADP, the adenosine diphosphate, will regenerate the new ATP. Okay, is that clear to all? Is this mechanism clear to all? Okay. So from diphosphate, two molecules of phosphate, we require one more molecule of phosphate, so we can make ATP. ATP again will go into that cycle, citric acid cycle of giving out energy. Okay, so we are making new ATP from ADP with the help of creatine phosphate. So creatine phosphate and ATP provide enough energy for the contraction for about 15 seconds for your muscles. Okay, so this is how through muscle metabolism you receive energy. This is the ATP PC system of giving out energy. How energy is produced? The first answer is the ATP-PC system in your body. This is the same pathway, creatine phosphate. You can see here creatine phosphate. It's a very high energy molecule. Okay, it will combine with adenosine diphosphate and it will form adenosine triphosphate. You can see here three phosphate molecules. So adenosine triphosphate. Then the next form of getting energy within your body is through anaerobic as well as aerobic glycolytic system. What do you mean by glycolytic? A medical terminology. Can you just try to explain in the chat box? What do you mean by glycolytic? Glycolytic. Yes, glycolytic means glycogen, lytic, breakdown of glycogen. Okay, the breakdown of glycogen. Glycogen is what is like the x-axis glucose was already converted into glycogen and it was stored in your body, okay, in your liver, muscles, etc. Now this stored glycogen in times of intense workout, in moderate intensity workout, etc., this stored glycogen is called upon to give out energy. Okay, so during that time, either during through aerobic or anaerobic glycolysis. Okay, if you are going into a state of high intensity workout without having a pre-workout snack. This is the importance of having a pre-workout snack. Okay, without having a pre-workout snack, when you go into high intensity workout, just please be very focused on this question. Without having a high carbohydrate pre-workout snack, if you go into a very high intensity workout suddenly out of the blue, which form of glycolysis will take place in your body? Is it aerobic or anaerobic? Just look at the flow charts given. There are two flow charts given in this particular image. One is aerobic glycolysis and anaerobic glycolysis. So when you are going into a high intensity workout suddenly without enough carbohydrates in your tummy, which form of glycolysis will your body take up? Yes, it will be anaerobic. Okay, because immediately without, aerobic means there is oxygen, there's the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic means there is no oxygen. Okay, there is no there is no oxygen, insufficient oxygen. Okay, and but without oxygen, immediately you require energy to perform. Okay, in that form, in that phase, the body goes into the state of anaerobic glycolysis. The stored up glycogen from the liver, especially the muscles. Liver is still secondary. First, the muscles will undergo glycolysis. The glucose will be converted into pyruvic acid, and since there is not enough oxygen, okay, since anaerobic glycolysis, anaerobic word itself is what does it mean? In the absence of oxygen. Anaerobic means in the absence of oxygen. In the absence of oxygen, this pyruvic acid will convert into lactic acid. When you have lactic acid accumulation in certain parts of your muscles, in certain parts of your body where you have focused your high intensity workout, that's where you get muscle cramps. Okay, post workout cramps. Okay, because the reason being this lactic acid has been accumulated over a period of time. This lactic acid again will be converted into energy. Okay, but you have to wait for a few hours, you have to wait for a day or so. Only then the lactic acid will slowly break down and it will again give out energy. Okay, so that's anaerobic glycolysis. But if you have sufficient pre-workout snack, okay, you have a quick energy giving snack before you hit the gym or before you hit high intensity workout, your body will follow the aerobic glycolysis. You will have sufficient oxygen. Pyruvic acid will be formed, but in presence of oxygen, it will give out carbon dioxide. You will breathe more, exhale more. If your respiration will be high, okay, you will sweat a lot. That is the water is being released. Along with that, ATP is released. Okay, energy is being released. So this is the three forms of three mechanisms through which energy is produced. The first was your ATP PC system, then you have anaerobic glycolytic system, and then you have aerobic glycolytic system. These are the three systems of producing energy in your body. In detail, it is given in the textbook. The same thing what I have explained, it is given in detail in the textbook. Just go through it, okay? On page number 22 and 23. Now, coming to the types of muscle fibers. Type 1 muscle fiber, okay, it has a low anaerobic power. It cannot function much in absence of oxygen. Okay, it cannot undergo anaerobic glycolysis very too often. It takes more time to get fatigued. Okay, high capacity for aerobic energy, limited potential for rapid force development. It like in for example, when you walk, okay, your thigh muscles, your leg muscles, okay, these are the kind of muscle fibers, etc., which have a low anaerobic power. Okay, then we have type 2 muscle fiber, which has high anaerobic fiber. It gets fatigued very faster. Okay, and it has a very low aerobic energy supply. It can function very well in a deficient oxygen supply environment. Okay, high potential for rapid force development. The examples of these two muscle fibers, can anyone do a quick Google search and just put in the chat box? I guess in the textbook they have not mentioned much. Which are the body parts where you will find these specific types of muscle fibers? Type 1 I have mentioned already, the one which you find on legs, etc. Type 2, can anyone just put in the chat box? Do a quick Google search about it. See, most of the type 1 muscle fibers will be found on your leg. Most of the leg muscles come, most of it, not all, most of it come under type 1. Most of the arm muscles, okay, your hands, your chest muscles, etc., okay, they come under, even the back muscles, they come under the type 2. Most of it, but not all. It's a mixture of type 1 and type 2 muscle fibers, which is present throughout your body. Okay, but the most prevalent factors, okay, prevalent factors of muscle or type 2 muscle fiber you'll find on your arms, especially specifically your upper arms, okay, your chest muscles, etc. You will find type 2 muscles, type 2 muscle fiber. your legs usually have type 1 muscle fibers, especially those who go in this marathon walks, marathon runs and all. They try to focus more on the type 1 muscle fiber. Okay, they don't want to get in their body into an anaerobic glycolysis during marathons. During marathons, this long runs, long walks, etc., you want to hone into your aerobic glycolysis. Okay, so deciding which kind of or which source of energy one has to use during their exercise. Okay, it depends upon which kind of exercise you're doing. Okay, so when you are doing a high intensity workout, okay, during your higher intensity workout, you want a lot of glycogen, especially your muscle glycogen, because that are the ones which are very quickly to give you the energy without following giving you cramps. Okay, you have to depend on your muscle glycogen. So when you're doing high intensity workout, and the higher the intensity of your workout, you will depend on your muscle glycogen. But when you are doing low intensity workout, okay, remember this, when you're doing low intensity workout like brisk walking and all, you depend more on the fat resources in your body. Okay, you depend more on the fat resources of your body. If you have, those who have the textbook, just check the figure 2.6, figure 2.6, fuel mixture slash exercise intensity. If you can see that graph, does anyone have book? Is the graph available with all? Do you have access to the graph? Okay, just look at the graph and see, or just put your finger around the low intensity exercise and just drag it upwards. Which kind of energy do you require? Is it fat or muscle glycogen? Low intensity exercise. When the intensity of the exercise is low, which kind of energy are you using a lot? Think again, think again. You are wrong. Most of you are wrong. Think again. Low intensity workout will require which kind of energy? Is it muscle glycogen or fat? Low intensity workout, you will lose a lot of fat. Okay, because if you want to be in a weight loss program, first when you're focusing on weight loss program, you have to start with low intensity workout. Okay, the reason being, it's specifically targeted to reduce your fat. Low intensity workouts will use up the fat stores first. It will never attack the muscles. You require muscles for the lean mass. Okay, so it will not attack the muscles first. But when you are doing a moderate intensity workout, moderate, it is equal, almost equal. Okay, some part of fat energy, some part of muscle glycogen is used for energy. But high intensity workout, your body is completely dependent on muscle glycogen. Okay, so if you do not have a good protein rich diet when you are undergoing high intensity workout, there are high chances that you will lose your lean mass instead of gaining it. Okay, so intensity of workout, remember this, low intensity workout, you will burn more fat. High intensity workout, you will burn more of the muscle glycogen. Okay, coming to the duration of the exercise. Again, come to figure, the same page, figure 2.7, duration of the exercise. When you increase the duration of the exercise, okay, like from 1 hour you're jumping to 2 hour, Okay, when you increase the duration of the exercise, which kind of energy are you utilizing more? When there is an increase, when there is a steady increase in the duration of the exercise, x axis is time, y axis is muscle glycogen as well as fat energy. When you increase the duration of your exercise, which kind of energy are you using? See, when you do low, for example, when you do low intensity workout, but you do it for 1 hour or 2 hour, okay? Just imagine you are doing brisk walking or you're just simply walking, okay, not applying much force, you're just simply enjoying the walk, but you're doing it for 1 hour, 2 hour, etc. You will still be burning your fat, okay? Muscle glycogen can give you immediate energy. Okay, you if you want to suddenly break out into some dance or something like that, muscle glycogen will give you immediate energy, but then you will get tired soon after. Within an hour, within 45 minutes, you will get tired and you will be fatigued. You have to rest because there is a limitation to muscle glycogen. But when you are on a low intensity workout for a prolonged period of time, you are still losing a lot of fat. Okay, for immediate burst out of exercise, immediate sudden high intensity exercise for a short period of time, that's when muscle glycogen will get depleted, not the fat stores. Okay, so duration of exercise, when you increase the duration of exercise, the fat stores will get depleted. Okay, but the duration of exercise is very small but high intensity. Okay, if intensity is too much and the duration is very small, muscle glycogen will be used. Okay, then your fitness level. Okay, so when you are like very well trained kind of person, you have been into gymming, you have been into moderate to high intensity workout since a very long time. Okay, uh, the glycogen utilization will not be that rapid. Your body is used to fueling up itself with glycogen and releasing it slowly during your workout. So a person who is very much trained, okay, who has a number of fat loss exercises, who has been under a strict regimen since a very long time, okay, during that for that particular individual, a well trained individual, that glycogen resources are not easily depleted. Okay, the depletion of glycogen resources is very quick for an untrained person. Okay, a person who is just into gym, who has just begun cycling, jogging or running. Okay, for that kind of people, the glycogen reserves will be emptied off or depleted off very soon. Okay, so that's the fitness level, the importance of fitness level. If you are following a fitness regimen since a very long time, your glycogen reserves will not be depleted that easily. Okay, it will be there to provide you intensity exercises, intensity energy whenever you require. Okay, but for untrained individuals, glycogen reserves will be easily depleted once they start into high intensity exercise. That's the impact of fitness level. So pre-exercise diet, as I have mentioned earlier, if you have a carbohydrate rich diet, a small carbohydrate rich snack, it will make sure that you will not lose a lot of muscle and liver glycogen. Okay, instead the body utilizes the fat stores. So having something in your stomach, a carbohydrate rich snack, in your stomach before you get onto high intensity exercise will help you out. You will not lose a lot of muscles during these pre-workout sections, etc. Okay. This is the energy systems during exercise. Your three types of energy system: anaerobic, aerobic, and ATP-CP. So immediate, you can see the first few seconds of your high intensity exercise. Okay, for an high intensity exercise, the first few seconds, your energy is from the ATP-CP source. Okay, ATP-CP system where the muscle glycogen is being depleted. Okay, for short term and moderate intensity exercise, anaerobic, then the anaerobic system will give you the energy. Okay, and then for long term, in a steady rise, if you are going for a long term exercise in a steady way, okay, not suddenly jerking around, but steadily you're increasing your pace. At that time your body is under the oxidative stress and you are getting aerobic energy. Okay, so this is the different energy systems at different time intervals of a exercise regimen. The same graph is used on page number 28. You can just refer that. For example, during when you do an explosive strength and power activities, okay, which last up to 5, like when you do planks, okay, planks is one of an explosive strength and power activity. So for a few seconds or for 1 minute when you do planks, okay, what kind of energy do you utilize? Planks, when one I guess everyone knows what planks are. Okay, so what kind of energy are you utilizing when you do planks? Yes, you are using ATP-CP system when you try out planks, push-ups, etc. Okay. Next is fatigue during exercise. So initially, again, the first few seconds, the ATP stored in the muscle is used. Okay, then your body goes into a stage of anaerobic breakdown of energy. Okay, and after the ATP from the muscles have been used, and the body is under the anaerobic stage, then you will reach fatigue very soon. Okay, after high intensity workout, you will reach fatigue very soon. But when you are in a moderate intensity exercise or a low intensity exercise for a very long hour, okay, ATP is generated with the help of breaking down of various macronutrients, not just the muscle glycogen. Okay, so it will help you to do a prolonged duration exercise. You will not get fatigued as fast as when you do a high intensity workout. Okay, a short duration exercise, easily you will get fatigued because most of your energy reserves have been depleted. The muscle reserves are depleted, as well as the anaerobic system is also out of function. Then the body goes into a stage of fatigue. Okay, but when you do a low to moderate intensity exercise on a prolonged duration of time, the chances of you getting fatigued in an hour or 2 hour is very less. Okay, so these are the different forms of fatigue during different types of exercise: short duration exercise and prolonged duration exercise. Any doubts here, please mention in the chat box.